Hey everybody, it's Chris here from Adventure School. Today we're going to be talking about tying into our harnesses with a figure 8 retrace. I've already got my harness on. We're not going to be talking about that today. Hopefully you already know how to put a harness on. We are going to talk about how to hook yourself into the rope so you can go climb. And the main knot people use for this is the figure 8. It's a really reliable knot. Most everybody knows how to tie it. But if you don't and you want to learn, you've come to the right place. Today we're going to figure out the best way to tie it. At least my best way to tie it. There's probably a million ways. We're going to start today by taking length of rope, about arm's length. We're going to take a bite. And a bite, if you don't know, is just a loop. And then what we're going to do is just flip this loop over and go up through the loop from the back side. So there's your figure 8. I know that's probably really confusing. I'll show you in slow-mo and up close.
All right, so we're going to do the close-up of the figure 8 here. What I want to do is take our rope, make a bite. We're going to cross over and twist the loop. Then we're going to come up through the back side. Figure 8. So let's do that again. We make a bite, cross over, twist the loop. You should have this hole right here in the middle, and then you're going to go right through the back side. Figure 8.
But let me tie that again for you real quick. So again, you're going to just take arm's length, make a bite, flip the rope, and go up through the back side, figure 8. Now, you've got a figure 8. How do you hook it into your harness? What you want to do with this tail is come up through the bottom of these hard points. Starting at the bottom and up. You don't want to use the belay loop. That's designed for belaying, clipping in carabiners and such. You want to tie into the hard points, and that'll keep your belay loop free. It also wasn't designed for this, but the hard points work. So we're going to go up through the bottom until we get about an inch or two right there. And then what we're going to do is retrace back through our figure 8. Just follow this exactly the same way that it goes through right here. And you can trace on the inside or outside, it doesn't really matter. I like to stay, if I'm going on the inside, stay on the inside the entire time because it makes my knot look nice and clean when we inspect it. So I'm going to just start from the bottom, follow through here. And you want to not have too much space here. You don't want it to be way out here. You also don't want it to be too tight where you're pinching your harness tighter than it needs to be. So just a couple inches is good. Keep wrapping around. Back up through. Okay, so now before we dress the knot, cinch it down, let's do a little inspection here. So what I want to see is 10 parallel strands. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If you see that, you can go ahead and cinch this sucker down. And what you want to end up with is a tight knot with at least a hand's width of tail, 6 inches. If you don't have that, this thing could slip and come undone. I've never heard of or seen a figure 8 knot tied properly come undone. Sometimes people end up with a big long tail, and that can whip around and hit you and get in your way when you're leading and such. You can tie that off right here really quick. And a lot of people actually, so I just tied a little overhand to get rid of that, shorten it up a bit. A lot of people will tie enough and tie a double fisherman's right there. You don't have to. They call it a safety knot. There's no need for that. It doesn't add any safety or risk to your figure 8. But if you feel comfortable with that, there's no problem. It's not going to cause any problems. So go ahead and do that. So with our figure eight, really this thing's not going anywhere. You can climb lead, you can climb on alpine, whatever you want. This is a good knot. The one downside to this knot, and why some people like to use different knots, and we'll talk about other knots later, but if you fall hard on this thing, say you take several falls in one climb, it's going to cinch down pretty tight. And when it gets cinched down pretty tight, it can be hard to untie, especially when your hands are cold or cramped. You may spend a while trying to loosen this thing up. So let me give you a tip for when I'm trying to untie this if it gets cinched down pretty tight. What I like to do is take either side, top or bottom, but usually it's the bottom that I see that's not as tight. I'll take this, and I'll just grab these two parallel strands coming out of the bottom of the knot, and I'll just kind of wiggle them up until I can get a little bit of play. Once you can get some play, you're good, you'll get it undone. But that can take a while if it's really tight. But that's usually the key that I find to getting this thing undone. So we'll go ahead and untie it now. And when you're done on the wall, you can leave this tied so the next person can tie it in. I would recommend, if you're climbing with a bunch of beginners that are learning how to climb, to untie this every time and help them learn how to tie a new knot. So again, loop, twist, up through the bottom of that. Okay, that's it for tying our figure eight and tying into our harness today. Thanks for joining us here at Adventure School.